I love it when Dale gets in before I even get in. Put the damn pump on the coins. Seems that way, doesn't it? Kajaka, what's good? Van City, what up? Hey, would you guys cool off with your fucking wildfires up there, dude? You're canceling my baseball games, man. I mean, granted, on the other side of the country from you, but still. Yeah, man. I figure Monday afternoon, Thursday morning, you kind of get both sides of it. Which is best you can. I'm gonna delete some shit. And then redraw. And we'll reevaluate. And then I'm gonna talk about alts. So I'm gonna do a quick update from the stream on Monday. And then talk about alts. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Yeah, dude, I don't know what the fuck you guys got going on up there, but like you need to get it under control. It's pretty insane. Word. Good to see you, RGO. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yep. I mean, we did. Look, it came right down to it. Came right down to it. And you're seeing separation from these wicks and these wicks. Sunday, what up? I never get Sunday live. What's up, dude? Thanks for the resub. Appreciate you as always. Yeah, it does look like we did. I mean, you can see, I'll try to zoom in, but you can see right there, like it got really close. But I don't think we saw any overlap. Generally, I like deeper tests than that. If for some reason that this doesn't, what's the other way to put this? If for some reason this doesn't retest that area and we actually get like a breakout to the highs, 30, 31, then I would be very impressed with the relative strength that is showing by doing that. I'm going to draw this line because I feel like it's becoming more and more relevant. Look at this. Okay. So that to me is relevancy because it's been respected, undercut, overcut, whatever. And that'd be the top side of that. So yeah, no shit. I agree. It's nice that it never got to that 105, whatever, so far yet. But you know, we still got time. We still got time to screw that up. So yeah, a large part of me, like I said on Monday, thinks that these two lines, these horizontal lines for the Fed next week, are going to be the only time that we're going to get some movement. It just feels to me like we're just going to dick around for a while. Like, look at these bars. We'll go to the 4-hour chart and make it more clear. It was ridiculous. Just down, up again. Like, we're just a enormous dick tug to turn the phrase that I always turn, but it's just liquidity games. But you know, the nice thing is Ethereum's just kind of chilling. That downtrend line, it gained, failed, recovered, held again overnight. Like, Ethereum's trying to do it. You know, if you put a gun to my head, Kajaka, and we're like, what happens? I think we just move sideways until August. Like, if I had to, with sideways being like a very, you know, like you could see a drop down at 24 and I would still consider that sideways. So like 24 and just like up and down and just move until they decide what they want to happen. But again, as we talked about in November of 21, whenever the Fed changes policies, it's a start of a new market. It's the start of a new market. And we've seen that happen. If you look when Homeboy changed his stance on printing a couple months ago, like that's when NQ took off, right? You saw this breakout, this hold, and the move forward. So as soon as he started to indicate they were going to continue stop holding, then you saw some money come into risk assets, which is nice to see, okay? As soon as Powell suggested there may be a halt to the raise in the near future, risk assets had a good go. Look at this. This is the only thing I saw when I was doing my quick review this morning. My little gray-green box on the ratio was just tested. And I said to you guys all along, we would love to see this retested and some strength and have it turn back up. So we're starting to get it. I don't know. It'd be hard for me to say that I think that was it. But you can't deny that, you know, we're seeing it right here. Just kind of drifting down along this line, punched through, back up, and now we're respecting it again. And this goes back to March 23rd. March 23rd. Like that's a pretty impressive rip. And because it was hit this hard and respected this often, you can pretty easily, I mean, I really hate to not use. I'm going to go to Wix. Month over month, Dale says month over month inflation numbers are up according to Cleveland forecast for inflation numbers, but year over year is down drastically. And I think year over year is probably what they care about more. Month to month ebbs and flows happen, man. But year over year, like if they can continue that trend, then they'll be fine. So you see this kind of drip downward. Yeah. I mean, we're going to see him again next week, and you're going to hear the Fed talk about it. So I think that you can look at this a few different ways. If we get the numbers we want, which is inflation's dropping, you know, we feel like we're at a place where we can pause the hikes for a little bit, and it'll depend on their forecast. I saw last night on one of the news aggregators, I forget who it was, someone revised their forecast about the likelihood of an impending recession to be better, like they think it may not happen. So you're starting to hear some of the things that would signal a better go of it, a better time. This is, for the most part, what I'm very interested to see hold. I would like to see a dip. I would like to see strength because you could really get some multiples on your numbers here. It looks similar here, which isn't shocking. Same green box. You're getting some alignment there. The thing that is most concerning to me is throughout this entire run of NQ, we really have just been sitting on the sidelines. Look at this. You could argue we went early and then NQ followed, but I don't love this chart. And usually we need all this to line up for us. For good times ahead. But as Sunday just referenced, and I'll get to in a second, you know, the dollar is still trying to decide what it's going to do. Is it really dying? We don't know. So I want to see, are we going to hold this 50-week moving average? Can we get a punch forward? Or are we going to die? Because pretty rare you see us get, I mean, why would honestly, if you could get the returns that you could get in crypto in the standard market and tech stocks, why would you ever fuck around with crypto? Not to say there isn't a reason to, and like decentralization and yada, 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 but I'm not talking about us. We're all in it because we like crypto. If you're talking about people who just invest, you're like, well, shit, man, why am I going to go fuck around with these people who have all this systemic risk, people getting hacked, you know, maybe Binance was paying guys to you know, defraud the SEC, or they're moving money around and CZ bought a yacht. Like, why would you get your hand involved with that knowing that you could have your coins seized at any time? There was something I said on Monday about like the GMXs and the DYDXs and those of the world really being huge moving forward, and I have zero doubt that's going to be the way this thing moves. In fact, if you were smart, you'd be raising a ton of money right now to be either like GMX Lite or something and just be the place for alts to go. Because it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter to these alts if it's on chain or not. It was just easier when you could hand it off to Binance and say, please give me a market maker to trade this for me. And they would, right? So you have a bunch of different ways that can be done. And it's all going to move on chain. Why did I get there? Well, coming back to it, the point is there's a lot of shit that's happening right now that are just like, cringe for crypto. It's exactly right, Sunday. No new catalyst until closer to the halving or large company or country doing something in Bitcoin. That's 100% right. And look, why would you jump? We're 10 months away from the halving. Halvening. I always like, halvening? Whatever. We're not far away from it in the lifespan of like investments. So where I am right now personally is let me look for nice, easy setups and then just not worry about like trying to thread every move because I don't think it really gets kicked off anytime soon. Would I love to see this move sideways and never give up this 24.3 box? Oh, God, yes. I would. On God that I would. Do I think that happens? I don't know. And I don't really care because like the chart structure is forming now, right? This is like that mid-level reaccumulation, and you can kind of see it here. There are similarities with these two chart structures. So let's see what happens. Ethereum is very clearly just waiting, but this is an enormous level. This level under 2150 or whatever, it's an enormous level. So I think it's easier to read the general market at large by looking at the Ethereum chart and going, until I see strength above 2150, it's all just kind of positioning. I don't know. I don't see it yet. Even so, we got to this 50-week moving average on ETHBTC like I said we would, like I thought we would, and we're kind of faltering. Right into the area we talked about, like to a T, guys. To a T. So what happens next? And I don't think you're going to see a resolution or at least any attempt at a move until next week, Wednesday. It's Thursday today. We got probably 6-7 days, which is fine. Not to say that I got a whole list of alts here that are showing relative strength, and we'll talk about them in a second. So you can go through and say, hey, look, some people are trying to do some things, and that's fine. There's reasons to play alts. Whenever you see greens come in versus Ethereum and a long DTL broken, it's worth taking notice. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But you have the S&P stopping where it should. You have the NQ stopping where it should. I mean, we're really just waiting around. We're waiting around. Hopefully RTY, the Russell, can continue doing that. But to Sunday's point, we saw this weekly move on the dollar. I thought we'd get up to this 105, 106 area. We haven't gotten there yet. So when you're lining up the triggers or the things that could make you kind of change your mind, okay, can we fall down and break these lows and head even lower? Because that'd be awesome. That'd be great. I don't think we're going to see 89 anytime soon, but like, we'll certainly take a trend continuation lower here, right? Higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Oh, I'll take it. Take out these lows, come down to 100 on the number, and screw around there. We might have a decent alt season. Doge doing Doge things. Link just settling in where Link settles in. Solana's a travesty. I don't know why anybody would ever want to purposely trade that. Nothing to see in Atom. I know this is so unbelievably busy and it kills me. I'm going to take a few of these off. Just so it's easier. People are like, I'm sure people scroll and see that I'm streaming and they're like, I wonder what this guy's about. And then I have this chart up and they're like, fuck that. I'm not going to go watch that guy. That needs to be there. That needs to be there. That probably doesn't need to be there. That probably doesn't need to be there. Yeah, it wasn't, but it also doesn't make sense to me either. Like, of all things to go after, is that because it came from the foundation and so therefore it was kind of like a security? And did you see Sunday? A bunch of people were celebrating the fact that Ethereum wasn't named, but I thought Ethereum was named at one point. So maybe we don't have that to celebrate quite as much yet. ETH staking. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I truly believe, and was that rumor true yesterday that Gensler had applied to be an advisor for Binance, or is that just some bullshit? Did you guys see that? Because that's pretty funny if so. Like a while ago, 2017, 2018. I saw it yesterday. It was like alerted on my phone, and I didn't even click into it. I think it was like Whale Watcher Guru or somebody had a link. It was literally Gensler was like, he taught crypto at MIT. Well, there you go. Unclear for. All right, so it exists. Taught crypto. This guy's a fucking. Sam saying he applied to Binance. Some say he was approached by Binance. Okay, if he taught crypto at MIT, then you could see them making an advance. But it's very different if Binance goes to him and is like, hey, will you do this? And he says no, versus him, submitting an application on Binance.com. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'd love to be your advisor. Roar. Funny. Fact remains, though, this is what I'll say. This looks cleaner now. We broke this to the downside very clearly. 4-touch, broke to the downside, but we haven't closed underneath it yet when I stretched it out to the wicks. Great. On the dailies, we did, and that's when you saw the punch down. Are we going to recover this? In order for us to recover this, we'd have to recover the 50. They're almost identical. So you would see a recovery back into this zone, 28 to 29, before the end of the week. So that would be the trigger for you as you're watching this. If you're keeping tabs at home, can we get over 28, 29 before week's end? Because that would salvage this chart. Now they're just wicks in demand. If we don't and it breaks to the downside, it's not horrible. I would just anticipate something between 24.3 and the underside of this, 27.4, just a liquidity games until Wednesday, and we see what Gensler has to say. I'm sorry, Gensler. Powell has to say. I was looking at Voice AI this morning, and somebody did a Jerome Powell impersonation. You can record stuff and have Jerome Powell say it back, which is pretty funny. But I'm okay with us to just continue hanging out here and just kind of drift sideways and hold this level. It'd be the best thing that could happen. It would be boring as hell. People would leave the space just because they're bored. But if we can get over this 27 whatever before the end of the week, then you salvage this bottom. What's funny is that line looks crooked as hell on the weekly, but it looks straight on the daily. So go figure that one out. Regardless, that's the number you'd want to see. And if not, I don't really expect anything different anyway. Ethereum is just holding this downtrend. We broke out, we surrendered it, we popped back, we surrendered it, we popped back. They're just waiting too. So I expect similar things. I'm going to take this line off. That's really just more for me. And you can look at the weekly and say it's pretty easy to see that this area is resistance. Here's secondary resistance here, but I don't really care about that. The big one's 24.50. ETH BTC, right where it should. 50-week moving average, kind of rejecting. Everything is at a level that makes sense for us to just kind of move sideways while people decide what they want to do. My personal bias is we're still in the sell in May, go away. People are at the Hamptons. People are vacationing. People taking their kids to Disney World, land, whatever it is. You're not seeing major players in right now. So my personal bias is I think we're just going to kind of drift sideways with little moves, and you won't see a big move until August, probably 4 to 8 weeks from now, unless there's some sort of catalyst like Sunday talked about. The other obvious reason is this chart that we've talked about forever, the ratio. You know, we're underperforming versus the S&P. That's not good for crypto. It's not. We had this nice little punch breakthrough off the bottom, which is great. We hold this level. That's great. It sets us up for the next move. I know we all want it to be now, guys. Believe me, I want it to be now. I want my bank account for it to be now. But just because we want it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'm seeing nice buys set up in a lot of different places on a lot of different alts. So we're going to talk about alts for a second. And I have a huge list of things that have been showing relative strength over the past week, 2 weeks, days, whatever. And it's just interesting to see these things come off the mat. I don't even know what storage is. I know you guys have talked to me about it before, but I don't really fuck around in those circles. But you're starting to see some decent moves in relative strength. Yeah, this one sucks. I can't even look at it because that's not what Tomo E. Tomo? Well, I don't know if that's the right Tomo or not, but it's got 406,000 in liquidity, and that's a nice move off the bottom. Look at it versus Ethereum, if so. So again, I have this screener through Masari. I mean, look at this relative strength. If this is real, I imagine it probably is. You're starting to see some roundups off the bottom. Lido's such an enigma. Look at this. This is a weekly chart against Ethereum, and it just oscillates back and forth. An absolute enigma to me. Particularly with staking being named as like an issue. Are people just going to stop staking through Coinbase? I don't know if you're into snacks, but Synapse, but it's a nice area versus Ethereum. It's been defended forever right now. Let me see if I can highlight this bitch. The relative strength tracker is the best thing that you can do. I love snacks. Dude, who doesn't love snacks? I mean, what happened to a cash? Just absolutely crushing it, which is nice to see. I think I have a shitload of this staked. Yeah. Really impressive. So we're starting to see more and more and more of this. Like render, obviously we all know that. Yes, correct. Here's a chart we drew a while ago before this broke out, and we're back. Render's actually in a decent spot. Yep. If you think that Render's run is not over, this is a good place to buy Render. Because you have the attempted breakout and it's retesting here to the downside. If it holds it, if you think it keeps moving, it's a good spot. Really good spot. But my point is, this is the first time I've looked in a while and actually seen some pretty decent like strength in names that I understand. You can look anytime. Obviously, Joe, people are pretty excited about Joe. You can look at any time and see garbage on a screener that has some like decent relative strength. But usually when I look, the liquidity is like 47,000, 120,000, and the market caps are tiny. And you're like, yeah, that's not hard to manipulate. you're starting to see stuff that's deeper. I mean, $142 million market cap, $2.1 million in liquidity, and Joe is getting off the mat, which is cool to see. Some curls up over the last couple of weeks. I remember when this happened in July of 21. It kind of looked and felt like this, okay? You just started to see like little bits of moves. That's when Taxi and I were talking about a bunch of just like the building blocks, if you will, the blue chips of DeFi, and you started to see them kind of curl and turn up. So you're seeing things that are not necessarily building block level, like not quite that nice, but I enjoy seeing things have their own move. If they have their own move, then you can start to think to yourself, man, this actually might be real. Let me see if I can pull up that screener. Here you go. This has been like the nicest add-on I think I've seen in a while, because I pay for Masari anyway for their research articles and for their news aggregator, which is really not hard to do anymore manually, but it's handy to me. And so you can go in and search. For those of you who haven't been on in a while, you can search on Change versus Ethereum, which is my preference, but it's generally not different relative to Bitcoin. You can see, what is this link? Apparently we have a new link. How do you, as a crypto company, actually come out and be like, yeah, let's pick Link. We'll just have ours be LN. What? So you can search by relative strength versus whatever. Index degen. Yeah, a new link. That's right. LN Marines, not LINK Marines. So to look at these on the 30-day strength and say, you know, there's some Tron, Synapse, Stacks, Snacks, Lido, Tomo. I know some of y'all loved Just Chain, you know, Ohm, whatever. You're starting to see things that are decent. Lido, whatever, dude. Then they should not have spelled it in English. Don't worry, guys. Floki is number 4 on the 90-day relative strength versus Ethereum. So we're still all fucking idiots. That said, I got a boy who's like now generationally rich off that, so good for him. Pepe Whales selling at huge loss. It's too good. So yeah, if you're not doing this already, I would say that this is where your alpha is going to come from. And a lot of times you can see it in 24-hour changes. Like all of a sudden Flex comes off the mat and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. You check this every day. And you start to get a heads up on where things are moving. The problem is I usually like to look at reported market cap, get rid of some other ones. There's a liquidity function in here, but they don't do a very good job of it. So you have to do a little bit more work. But I know everybody loves EOS. That's a huge. Dale loves EOS, so we're gonna have to look at EOS. Right, yikes, dude! What a horseshit chart. Look at that. It's Lido. Lido. Did I just see Polkadot? Another good way to do it. We're sort by market cap. Go down, see if you have any outliers. Stacks up 5% in 24 hours with a $900 million market cap. Coming in on the 50-week moving average. What is Stacks again? Formerly Blockstacks provides software for internet ownership, which includes infrastructure and developer tools to power a computing network and ecosystem for dApps. It's focused to replace the reliance on centralized cloud service providers and apps that's the same thing as a cache, isn't it? That harvest and monetize user information. The Stacks network allows users to directly own digital assets like usernames, domain names, computer programs, etc., on the Stacks blockchain. I mean, if you think about it, that would be a layer 2 BTC. If you think about it, that would be a pretty good case for there to be a run on it when we're having all these conversations about people getting shut down and things getting shut down. Yeah. But remember, if you ask people who are big into Bitcoin, smart contract layer is not required. Not required. Phantom having a nice little run. Terra Luna Classic. Good Lord. Have we not learned our lesson? Cake. Cake? Really? Flexcoin. Bone Shiba Swap. See, this is when things... $185 million market cap. Like, are you shitting me right now? Can't do it. Can't do it. So this tool through Masari is like $30 a month. It's nothing crazy. And it's a nice little screener. You can do this stuff on your own too, but I appreciate the way that it's laid out. 7-day trend's kind of nice. You get an idea about what the chart looks like. And if you really want to know what something is, you click in. Gives you a little rundown. You can go to their website. Yeah. Up 35% from cycle low. I don't remember that, but it's a good indication. It's a good thing to see here. Cycle low date was January 10th of this year. It's up 35% off the bottom. It's kind of good to know, right? Let's find another good one. Cycle low June 5th on optimism. Who's bullish on optimism? Apparently no one. And what's their definition of cycle? That I'd like to know. Down from all-time high date, 24th. Yeah, it's not bad. So anyway, I'm starting to see some positive signs for me. Nothing crazy. I would just say when you're looking at what's to come over the next week, these are the two dates that you want to have in mind. Next Tuesday and Wednesday. Why? Glad you asked. There you go. Month over month, year over year, inflation on Tuesday. That will fully inform the conversation for what's going to be done on Wednesday, which is the interest rate decision. But look at the forecast. The forecast right now is no rate hike. So remember that when you play this game, by the way, flashbang, when you play this game, it's an expectations game. No, because the Chinese Fed's not real. They don't allow audits of their financial system. Granted, ours are not real. We just make it up. So you guys can't see it because there's a white background. But Kajake said, do markets react any similar to Chinese Fed decisions? And I said, no, because they're not real. There's no like audited financials of Chinese companies. There's no audited financials of like the actual government, of the economy. How is the economy doing? Nobody fucking knows. So it's just you're trusting, the finance secretary to be telling the truth. And with China, you can never do that, which is a problem. So no one really takes them fucking seriously. But what I was saying was, what matters is the expectation game. The expectation game from the consensus is we are not going to have a rate hike. So when you're looking and watching and the announcement comes out and it's like, no hike, that doesn't necessarily mean go smash the buy button, because that's what we expect now. If the expectation was 25 basis points and then it went to 0, that's bullish. We're going to have a rip. It may be temporary, but it's something you can buy. It'd be something you could plan off of or play off of. The economic projections are going to be probably the bigger point, because remember, I believe last month he said that 3 of them really thought a recession was going to happen before the end of the year. 3 or 4 of them. And so the consensus thought there would be a small recession, or whatever the hell he said, before the end of the year. It's fucking June, guys. There's only 6 months left. So what are they going to say based on this new information? If they come out and say, we like what we've seen with year-over-year inflation, per Dale's point earlier, and XYZ, whatever, we're revising. We don't think a recession is going to happen because of that. We don't think, we're not going to have to raise as much, or we're going to let business grow. You don't know. So be careful. These are the 2 dates. So what do I expect to happen between now and then? Okay. And then you get all the crazy shit that happens as the announcement happens. Just whipsawing back and forth. Look at this. Look at where we are. Just riding the top band. We have been the entire week. At the very least, the S&P is due for a regression back to the mean. If I were a betting man, I would bet that happens, if not before Wednesday or Tuesday, it will happen because of Wednesday or Tuesday. We don't just straight up, you know what I mean? Anyway. I think we're going to have an entirely different conversation after next Wednesday. I really do. Any thoughts, comments, suggestions? I don't know why copy price is something that they do now. Interesting. All right, y'all. Not a whole lot to go with today. I think if you were to look across all decent alts, they're all at support. Okay. Link, support. I didn't talk about XRP today, but XRP, if they get a good ruling, going to be a big play. Matic, support. AVAX, support. Atom, support. They're all sitting in the same spot. They're all sitting in the same spot. Aave, support. Whatever happened to Wi-Fi? Does anybody give a shit about them anymore? Probably not, right? Yep, support. I mean, they all look the same. They all look the same. We're not going to be caught with our pants down on any of these moves because they'll all be moving together if they have a move. But I think the next one's going to be AI anyway. Going to be AI driven. Anyway, all right, y'all. I'm going to call it. This works as well for me for a couple of reasons. But if you have any last questions, now would be the time. I know this wasn't like super exciting, but I do think we're in like the dog days of summer. I think that the dollar has to make a move. What I would love to see, if we're talking about like my wants for the end of the week, Sunday, we're good to see you, peace, is right here. We want to be riding inside the channel above the 50 by the end of the week. So what would a good end of the week be for me? 27.5, 27.6. And you'll probably see liquidity games till we see what happens. So pray to whatever God it is you pray to, or, whatever, that we get a favorable meeting next week, and then we might actually have some fun. Anyway, take care. Be good. Thanks for coming out as always. Thanks for those who resub today, Sunday, others. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.